I don't believe in God.
Well,
Okay. All right. So I guess do we
Do
just
you wanna start?
okay, so
yeah, I mean, I can
who
I
started
can
first? You wanna start? Okay, yes, you start first, and then Noah will refute it.
Okay, all right. So, in my eyes, the true definition of religion is the idealism of faith, right? So, it's understanding that you can put your faith into something that you may or may not know is real, and then you continue to back it up with what you genuinely believe and through morals that you have. That have just been installed either through experiences that you've seen in life or ones that you have been told about as you continue to exist in life. So, for the question of is God real, I'm quiet because it's 1 a.m. and I don't want to wake up my family, FYI. So, the reason that I believe that God is real is because if you look through, which I guess you can say is our source, which is the Bible, um, the constant stories that are showing the way that people were affected through their distinguished faith through God, and how those morals can be applied to real life circumstances that you yourself experience in today's age. It's almost unequivocal to not believe in God. That, along with the fact that if you just look at um, other religions, a lot of them are based upon the belief of a god. Like, you may correct me if I'm wrong because I'm more um, well known in Christianity, but even in the Muslim faith, there's Allah who is their god, and that's their one god that exists in their eyes. And then you have different religions that have different gods. Um, well, Allah is like, praise Allah. I'm not saying that it's like the equivocal God, but then you also have like different religions where they have multiple gods. That's like discounting mythology gods. I'm talking about like different religions where like they have individual gods for different things. So like they have a god of water who provides rain for them, and they pray upon that when they need rain. And they have a god who provides food for them. Those I think it's polytheistic religions are what they are called. So, that's essentially my take on it. That's why I believe that there's a God up there.
Okay. Um, so sorry if I'm like fucking stuttering, cause like I don't know, I get fucking anxious about this stuff.
You're
But
cool. Don't worry.
anyways, um, the thing is that I don't believe in faith and that if you believe in something, then that's all that matters. I
Mm,
believe in getting the proof of it. So like, the thing like I know this is completely irrelevant, but like I don't believe in aliens because like there's no proof. Um
right.
so that's the same reason I don't believe in God because there's been no proof. And of course, if there were like proof on it, then I would definitely start believing in him. I
Okay.
don't I don't like to I just it's like I don't want to devote myself to something that I have no clue if it's real or not.
Hmm.
So I just don't believe in it and that's why I'm an atheist cuz I don't want to devote myself to something that I have no clue if it really exists.
Okay. So, in your mind, it's the fact that because we don't have concrete proof that God exists, then you can't necessarily believe in it because it's believing in something that you don't like can physically see or believe, right?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, there's one thing that I just like to point out. So, a lot of people, whenever they make the statement of, oh, I'm not going to believe in God because I've never seen God before, or how can I believe the things that were said in the Bible that were written by God because, maybe the Bible was just religion it was just like fiction that was written by, that's a big conversation point that people will bring up that the Bible is fiction that is brought up through, you know, Romanians that wrote it down through time. But one thing that is pretty. distinguified and that has been proven correct is the fact that you know, religion and the Bible especially were all like works that were written on account of the people who did write them. For example, people will say, "Oh, how can I believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ if I don't even know?" Yeah, distinguishified. I don't even know what I was saying. I'm sorry, but the some people will say that the resurrection of Jesus Christ wasn't real because how do we even know if Jesus was the person, like was an actual living person? But real accounts of Jesus of Nazareth were things that were written down, not just exclusive to the Bible. You know, the conversation point becomes where, you start saying, oh, um, maybe he just didn't resurrect. And, that's where the conversation of God comes in. But if I'm going to go back to your point on where you say that I can't believe in something that doesn't exist, you can't really keep that mindset and then distinguish it through everything else, right? So in my case, I can't like say, oh, I believe in God, but then like um say, oh, but I don't believe this and this about God, right? Because that wouldn't be believing in the whole God. The same thing could be put about you saying that you don't believe in things that aren't concrete, because you probably have things that yeah, it kind of is filler busting. I won't deny that. But the argument as a whole is like disdainful, because you can say things like, oh, I don't believe in God because I've never seen God before. But you could also say, hey, I don't believe in insert famous celebrity here because I've never seen this celebrity. You've heard talk about this person, this person exists, but you've never seen this person physically. So in that same mindset, how can you say, oh, I don't believe in that, when in its own right it does exist? There can't be however many, I don't know the exact number, so don't quote me on it, but you can say that there are X amount of Christians and Muslims and X amount of other religions that believe under like the idealism of one God. And you can't like disprove that
Everyone be
that
able to hear
amount
you right
of
now.
All
belief
right.
won't equivalate to there being a higher being up there. That's just my mindset.
Yeah, so, okay, the thing is that for me, it's if there's been, like, proven and, like, fuck, I forgot the word, like, proven, um, proof, not proven. If there's been, like, proof, then
Hmm.
that's, like, I'll believe in it, it's whatever. But
Right.
if there's no proof that God has existed, or
Hmm.
like, I don't know if this seems, like, invalidating, if it seems like I'm just keeping on stating the same statement, but, um but it's like, I haven't seen anything that makes me wanna think that God is real, because there's been, like, nothing that anyone has shown that, God or Jesus has owned, or, like,
Hmm.
anything. I know that they say that God was, like, on a cross, or Jesus, I don't know which one it was, but, so I'm like, "Where's that cross?" I just don't understand, cause like, it doesn't align, cause there's no cross anywhere, at least I haven't seen it. So, I just don't understand how I should believe it if there's not been any proof that it's existed.
Okay, so what you just told me was you said that I've never seen an existence of something that would correlate to God. Therefore, God doesn't exist. Is that right or wrong?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Well, I mean, I can rebuttal that because, for example, you say the cross. I've never seen the cross where Jesus died. Therefore, God doesn't exist. Well, you have to understand that, as humans, even if you don't believe in God, the majority of people who don't believe in God believe in BC, well, which is before Christ, and then 80, which is after death, right? Um, a big reason why you probably won't see the cross that Jesus died on was because that was 2,000 years ago. If that cross was still standing up, I can personally like I'll personally say that I don't believe in God. Like let me just say that. Um I feel like and this isn't me to bash on you because everyone's allowed to have their own mindsets. But someone brought up agnosticism. I'm being agnostic. Um, Probably a better point to just take in the fact that I've never seen God before, or I don't know proof of God. Agnostic is just not really having a religious faith, like, or not believing in anything. It's like I don't believe that God exists, and I don't believe that He doesn't exist. It's, oh, I'm just here. That's just life. You know what I mean? So like there are legit like proven ways that people can say, hey, there's a God that exists, and many of them are through like subjects, like core subjects like math and science, like the laws of math, for example. And this is a study from a Princeton physician. He said there has to be more than just this natural world that we live in, and mathematically it wouldn't make sense that throughout time we would just pop out of nowhere. And this is like generally proven through just like understanding that since there is, a higher being, we're able to move on, like, and live as people through that. The birth of Adam and Eve through, God's vessel allowed us to, become who we are as man and women. The understanding of the word woman in its own right is the womb of a man. You know what I mean? So, or at least I hope that's right. I want to make sure that that's right because someone might disprove me in chat. But like, women, like the in like, and that's coming from the Bible in its own right, is saying that, like, women came from men, and then through that we became our own like distinguished sex. And as time continues, we differ as people. And in general, like that kind of thing couldn't just develop if you know we as people didn't have a higher being looking after us. Yeah. And that's my take on it. Yeah, so like some
Okay.
oh sorry, yeah, like someone said
Oh,
there's
wait,
a
no,
superior being
I'm
out
sorry,
there.
I cut you off. I cut
No,
you
it's
off.
okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
was I was just finishing my point. You can go on.
Okay, so what I believe is evolution because um I don't know if it's like all of that, if it makes like a lot of sense, but I
Mm,
believe more in evolution because like animals, they evolve rather than they evolve and they get used to their settings. Like and humans are animals, whether like it or not. We're still
right. No,
animals. Uh
that's a biological proof. Yeah.
yeah, and so we've evolved and we've changed things over time. I don't think that was needed, that not needed. I don't think that happened because there was a God. I just think that it happened because of the evolution sense that just happened because that's what happens. Every kind of animal and every single thing evolves somehow. Like um like fucking mountain goats, they grew hooves that let them stay on mountains. And
Hmm.
humans, they've changed in different ways to um to become who they are now. And um I about the woman and man thing, I think that that's just how it became because every single animal has a part and has you know? Um, so I think that that's just how we were born, and I don't know if the gorilla thing is all that makes sense, if
The
that makes
gorilla
sense,
thing? Are you
but
like talking
like
about how
how
like we
humans
evolved?
grew evolved, yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, then I think that is what makes sense more than that there's a God, so
Hmm. So
that's my
could
take
you
on it.
explain to me what the gorilla thing is? Like, how did we come from apes?
Um, okay, so basically, I think it's that, um sorry, I'm hyperventilating.
It's
This
okay.
is,
Take your time. I don't mean to
yeah,
like
there's
put
a
pressure
lot
on
of
you.
people here, and
Hmm.
there's a
It's
lot of
okay.
stuff happening
Yeah,
in
it's
chat,
it's it's
so
nerve wracking. You're all right.
yeah, it is, it's really nerve-wracking, but, I think that humans they evolved from gorillas because, the world might have, like either I don't know if it's all true, so maybe that's
Mhm.
just it may be just irrelevant, but
Right.
I think that maybe gorillas didn't need anything, like, they didn't need all the hair that they had, so, like,
Right.
they just, like, reduced the hair through evolution.
Mhm.
That's 'cause, like, there's stuff that happens like that. 'Cause
Right.
there's definitely been animals that have had way more fur back,
Mhm.
like, during times that they needed it,
Yeah.
rather than now.
Can I make a point on your evolution conversation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not going to denounce that evolution through time was something that didn't exist because anyone with half a brain and enough intelligence to look it up know that we as humans just naturally evolve through time. Like that's why, as time goes, we get taller and we get stronger. If you look at, us as humans 300 years ago back in 1700, and not just time but also through tribulations that we had to go through, you know what I mean? Like if through time and through heartaches we're understanding that, hey, we need to be stronger, we need to find a way. Like let me point this out, right? So let's say that I thought let me play a devil's advocate for a second. I hate saying that, but let's say that a million years ago there were humans that had evolved, right? And they had realized, hey, during this time it gets cold. Yeah, I literally hate saying devil's advocate. I'm sorry. But so let's say that a million years ago, humans, we can say cavemen to make it a little bit more understanding. Let's say cavemen were like, during this time it gets really hot, during this time it gets really cold. We can distinguish that, oh, this is the cold time, this is the hot time. Now let's say that these cavemen, despite not having everything that they had, naturally knew that through time it was about to get really cold through this time. What happens is natural evolution tells us, hey, we should one understand that we need to find a way to stay warm, but we should also find a way to make our bodies get strong enough to us where that this cold doesn't make us die. You know what I mean? And that's where that
Yeah,
natural evolution comes in. And I absolutely agree with that. However, I can't necessarily confirm or like announce the idea that, hey, we as people were gorillas and then through time we naturally became humans. Because if that were the case, every gorilla through time that continues to breed would eventually become human. Well, I do understand that, yes, these, we do share a lot in terms of brain functionality as apes. We don't necessarily correlate with them. Like someone said, we technically share this like more DNA in common with snakes than we do apes. If you like look into that, like that's a proven fact through biology. um like apes do come from our adaptation, but they don't evolve directly from us. It wasn't like, oh, 100 years passed and then a gorilla got off of its quads and its fours and then started standing walking upright and then eventually became thank you. I look like an ape. You don't know what I look like. But the entire
What
like
did you just say? Yes.
conversation point of
Okay.
we came from monkeys and now we're humans just doesn't correlate or like completely go with human like biology that we've studied for years.
Yeah. Wait.
Physicists from the
Yes.
past have even said that we had to come from a sentient being that gave us life. Because if we just
Wait. Is
came
my
from
mic working?
particles, nothing. How would we exist if we just came from particles? We have a conscious, we have a mental state, and we have an understanding of how to do things, which is why we as humans are considered the top of the food chain because we have something that a lot of other animals don't have, which is like a developing conscious that adapts to its like well-being. That has evolved as years go on, but as a whole, the evolution point just doesn't correlate. Yeah, like
yeah,
and one last thing, sorry. You may say that that doesn't prove God, and to say that you can, I will have to throw a bone to you because it's hard to, put your full belief on like God exists. But the whole point of believing that God exists is that, God is based on faith. Religion and Christianity, especially, but religion as a whole is the belief on faith, right? It's justifying this this exists because I have faith that it does exist. So in my eyes, because I have been seen with the like the background of growing up with religion and seeing people, um, you know, and seeing people who have been touched by religion and their strength and belief in God, it makes me believe, hey, this God exists. That's why these things happen. While he may not necessarily be like what people think, because when people think of God, they think this being that controls every little thing that happens in our life, that he consistently watches our paths, right? And in my eyes, I can say that I believe that this higher being, God, does exist. However, he doesn't necessarily always he gave us free will as humans to be able to make decisions that he laid down for us. He gives us a mindset where we can say, hey, I think this is what you should do, or this is what you shouldn't do. And that's where you can make your mind off of it. So that's my take on
Okay, so I'm going to say this
it.
because I think it has something to do with this.
Mhm.
I never grew up with religion, and when I did, it was bad experiences. Like, I remember once I had to pray that my aunt would get better, and she didn't.
She
So
didn't. I'm sorry.
yeah, it was kind of upsetting for me because I was like really young, and that like played a part on me not believing in God because
Hmm.
I thought maybe He would have helped her out.
Right.
Because I was, like, really young, and I also
Yeah.
haven't grown up with any religion, so I
I
didn't
bet.
know anything about that, and,
Hmm.
I agree, maybe it's, like, I it's just like what I was taught at my school when I was younger that humans evolved from apes and whatever, but it
Right.
could it could be, like, a whole different story. It's just
Mm.
that's what I was taught. It wasn't that we were born from God and that
Right.
that we're, like, God's children or something. I don't know
Hmm.
what the term is, but, it's just, I believe maybe it could be that humans are a whole different species from apes, but I believe that it's that we weren't born from God. It's just how it's I'm sorry, I'm stuttering a
It's
lot.
okay. I know
I yeah,
it's a
It's
I
fine.
nerve-wracking point. It's okay. Take your time.
it's I just believe that it's not that we were born from God because I feel like that there'd be a lot more different stuff going on
Hmm.
if we were born from God. Like,
Right.
I think if we were God's children, then we'd have better morals.
Mm.
That's what I think because, nowadays people are
Right.
pretty cruel.
Really bad.
And
Can I make? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
you can go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to first say I'm really sorry about your aunt. I know that at a young age, when you're told, hey, pray for this person and they're going to get better, you're told these things. And then when these things may or may not happen, you have a negative mindset as to what this really is. And to that, I'd like to say, I'm sorry. It's a really bad experience into religion. I would like to also say, and this isn't to demean anything that you've brought up before, but I've also had family members that have passed away that I've religiously prayed for as well. And these things they happen, and a lot of that is because someone had pointed this out before, but praying is communication. It doesn't necessarily equivocate to your like perfect wish. While yes, God exists in the world to make things better, everything is according to his will. So you know him not healing your aunt, or in the case of many other people that have had your experience before where they've prayed to God and didn't get what they initially prayed for, the idea is to continually believe in this mindset that it's all under God's will, because in the end his will is for the betterment of we as people. Like, for example, it's very sad, but in the Bible, I'm pretty sure you know about Noah's Ark. And if you know anything about Noah's Ark, you know that God had to wipe out everyone except Noah's wife and his close family. and he had to bring 2 of every animal onto his ark, right? And the reason he did that was because the world was too full of sin, right? Sin overcame the world, and that was before time of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ died on the cross to relieve us of sin, so that God doesn't have to do a Noah's Ark part 2, where he has to, wipe out the world again in a huge flood. So in that mindset, God is real in the idea that every action that he does that doesn't equivocate to our free will, where we don't necessarily have the full power, is according to his free will. And this free will is something that we may not necessarily know at the time, but if we pray and we communicate to God, he does communicate back in ways. My grandma, she is a theologist. She works as a staff chaplain. She literally goes and works in a hospital where she sees these innocent people die every single day, and she has no control on it, but all she can do is pray for this person, right? All she can do is make sure, hey, I'll do what I can as this chaplain, this person ordained under God's ministry to, be there and be an advocate for one God and to be an advocate for the people of God. She goes out of her way to pray for these people, and sometimes she sees these people die. I'm sorry if I'm boring. If you don't like the conversation, you're more than welcome to leave the podcast. Not you, someone in chat. But if you genuinely if you
Wait, no, don't
genuinely
leave.
pray, you can have these conversations where you can have people um, you know to communicate with God, and they can and God in many cases communicates back. That may not necessarily be through an almighty voice speaking from down saying, hey, I'm gonna do this for you, but it's more in visions and signs that you see in dreams and through other people. That's why in a lot of cases we just have to believe in faith. The question in hand is God real? And to that, the answer is, if you have the faith for it, yes. If you don't, then can you have the faith for it to believe that he's real? So that's the stand I'll take.
Yeah, I think your opinion's fully correct, and I like how you're being respectful
All
about
right.
it.
Yeah, I'm
It's
trying
You guys
to.
just
wrapped it up?
yeah, sure.
Actually, you were saying something, Pasil. You want to continue?
I was just going to say that I don't think I would have enough faith to believe in him, because I think I'd have to start that off as like when I was like a young child, but I didn't, kind of like either I believed in him when I was younger or I don't.
All
So
right. Seems you guys kind of agree
Yeah,
for the most
I mean,
part.
I can't necessarily diss you on that. In my case, I was the person that was introduced to it early. So, yeah.
All right. So, do you guys want to? No, she didn't leave. I pulled her off. So, do you guys want to get new people or change the topic? New topic. Okay, so if we were to do a new topic, what would it be?